You may never need to spend money on spray paint cans like this again once you know this trick. This old paint can looks dirty, empty, and ready for the trash, but sometimes the best DIY ideas start with things that look used up and worthless. Today I'm going to turn this old paint can into a practical tool that anyone can easily make at home. Welcome back to Dan Fix. I'm Dan. Before touching any tool, make sure the can is completely empty and fully depressurized. Press the nozzle until nothing comes out. Work outdoors or in a very well-ventilated area and keep the can far away from flames, sparks, cigarettes, and heaters. Drop the nozzle into a glass bowl, then add just enough paint thinner to cover the parts. Wear gloves here. Paint thinner can clean old paint, but it should not touch your skin. Use a small brush to scrub the nozzle and the tiny passage inside it. If this part stays clogged, the whole project will fail later, no matter how well we rebuild the can. Wipe the nozzle with paper towel, then clean the valve stem under the nozzle the same way. The thinner softens old paint residue so the spray path can open again. Have you ever tried to reuse an empty spray paint can instead of throwing it away? Next, mark the 2 spots we need on the body of the can. These holes should sit in a straight line about 1 to 2 inches apart. Place them around the lower third of the can, not in the middle where your hand naturally grips it. One hole will become the air valve, the other will become the refill port. That is why placement matters. If the holes sit wrong, the can may work, but feel awkward to hold and refill. Only drill after the can has been emptied and aired out. Do not drill a pressurized can. Do not drill a can that still smells strongly of solvent. Wear safety glasses and drill slowly. Once the holes are open, sand around them until the paint layer comes off and clean metal appears. If we skip this step, the seal may look good at first but leak when pressure goes in. Would you place the refill hole here, or would you move it lower for easier pouring? To refill the can later, we need a small funnel. Take an empty Coca-Cola bottle and cut off the neck with a utility knife. Keep your fingers behind the blade and cut slowly. Remove the cap, then move all solvent far away before using any heat. Warm the cap briefly with a lighter just enough to soften the plastic. Do not melt it or let it burn. Press a screwdriver gently through the softened area to make a small hole. Screw the cap back onto the bottleneck, and the homemade funnel is ready. Place the funnel into the new refill hole and pour a small amount of thinner into the can. Swirl it around to wash old paint from the inside, then pour it out safely. Repeat 2 or 3 times until the liquid comes out cleaner. This helps prevent old dried paint from clogging the nozzle later. Now we need a way to add air pressure. Take a valve from an old motorcycle tube, set it over the first hole and hold it straight. Add super glue around the base to lock it in place temporarily. Cut a small piece of narrow PVC pipe about 3/4 of an inch long. Set it around the valve base like a little wall. This gives the sealing mixture a frame so it stays where we need it instead of spreading across the can. Here comes the strange part. Use small pieces of foam around the valve, then add super glue a little at a time. The glue breaks down the foam structure and turns it into a hard sealing mass as it cures. Work slowly. Do not dump too much glue at once and do this in a ventilated area because the fumes are strong. Have you ever recycled foam for a repair like this? Keep building the seal in small layers until the valve base is fully surrounded. This spot decides whether the can sprays or leaks, so patience matters. After it hardens, the foam and glue feel completely different from the soft foam we started with. For the second hole, place a nut over the opening. This nut will become the refill port where a bolt can screw in and seal the can after we add paint. Fix the nut in place with super glue, then use the same foam and glue method to strengthen the connection around it. Once both seals are fully cured, smooth the surface with a file or sandpaper. Remove sharp ridges and rough bumps, but do not cut into the seal. A cleaner surface makes the can easier to hold and helps us spot leaks later. For the refill port, we need a simple gasket. Cut a small round piece from an old inner tube, then make a hole in the center so a bolt can pass through it. This rubber piece works like a washer. When the bolt tightens, the rubber compresses and helps block paint air and thinner from escaping. Pour oil-based paint into a cup, then add a small amount of thinner. Stir until the paint flows smoothly. The paint cannot be too thick or it will clog the nozzle. It also cannot be too thin or it may run on the surface and cover poorly. Use the homemade funnel to pour the paint into the can through the refill port. Do not fill the can all the way. Leave empty space inside because compressed air needs room to push the paint out. After filling, place the rubber gasket over the hole and tighten the bolt into the nut. At this point, the old spray can has almost come back to life. The nozzle is clean, the refill port is sealed, and the air valve is ready. The only thing left is pressure. Use a hand pump to add air through the valve. Pump slowly and do not overdo it. If you hear a leak, see the seal lifting or notice the can swelling, stop immediately. This is a homemade tool for small tests, not a high-pressure tank. For the first spray, aim at a piece of cardboard. Keep the can upright and press the nozzle. Look at that spray pattern. The paint comes out strong and even, which means the nozzle valve, refill port, and when pressure are working together. What would you spray with a refillable can like this? Metal, wood, garden tools, or something else? Now test it on a piece of metal. Move the can in smooth passes, keeping the nozzle the same distance from the surface. Do not stop in one spot too long or the paint can build up and run. Compare that to the empty can at the start. It looked useless, but with a clean nozzle, 2 added ports, a valve, a rubber gasket, and careful sealing, it became a refillable spray tool. It will not replace every commercial spray can, and it must be used carefully, but for small DIY jobs, this is a smart way to reuse something most people throw away. If you found this useful, subscribe to Dan Fix, and tell me what empty workshop item you want to recycle next.